But Elon had it. I thought he'd scored in the end. Yes, guys, how are we all? Oh God. All right, I'm. This was one of them games, right, where you look at how Chelsea are doing, and you instantly presume this is a game you probably have to win. But the fact of the matter is, and I've watched Chelsea like 3 or 4 times in the last 2, 3 months because they've been on TV. This is how they play in most of them games. They are like this. They have a lot of the ball. They actually move the ball all right. It's a Graham Potter side. We know what they do, right? The issue for Chelsea has been this season is finishing chances or even creating big goal scoring chances. And when they do get there once or twice a game, they don't score. What they did today was, you saw that again, right? They had 1 or 2 decent chances, which they've missed, and then the naivety of us to not mark Fafana or not jump with him or not even put him off twice in a game. The first one he missed, which was a warning, and the second one scored, is typical us. I don't think it's a performance where we should be worried, because I actually believe when we got the ball down and moved it, which wasn't enough, but when we actually did that, we looked good and dangerous. We found Firpo on that side. We found Crescencio Somerville when he got some space in there. He ran at them. He won free kicks. He drove forward. It's one of them games that's just really frustrating from our point of view, because it's probably a game you do a lot in to get a point, and to concede from a corner, having been warned from Fafana in the first half, giving him a free header, to then do it again. It's just naive at that point. Look, you can't jump with him. At least try and put him off. I'm seeing someone stood next to him doing that. Come on. It's naive, man. And that came from the goal in the second half, came from what should have happened in the first half when we started really slow and we actually didn't do enough to keep the ball. When we got the ball, we panicked and we just gave it them away. We did that in the second half as well. We did exactly the same thing. 3 or 4 times we won it back from the edge of our box, and the next pass, or they just panicked. Whether he tried to take someone on, whether it's just a boot back to their defenders, which allows them to then get back in their shape. Not pressure. It's just naive, man. It's just naive. But I'm not getting over annoyed with the performance again, because we did a lot in that game, which was right. And for me, look, I know people are going to be, Chelsea have good players. Let's not. Chelsea's depth is probably second best in the Premier League behind Man City. Probably. Their starting 11, on paper, the actual players they have it's a very good side, isn't it? The problem with Chelsea is they're underperforming the goals they're scoring compared to the amount of chances they create. That's what they're doing. They're not necessarily playing bad. They're just, everything up until the box area is good, right? Every game they play, it's the same. Similar to what happened with Graham Potter at Brighton, had the similar things there. So to actually compete in areas is actually decent from us. However, to be naive in moments is frustrating. As individuals, I think first 25 minutes, none of them were good enough. But then what happened was, then something happened. We got on the ball and we passed it, and they were booing their players. That's all it took. And that's where the opportunity is. All it took in this game was for us to do a little more pressure. But what happened was, in the second half, we did the same thing, the same pattern as the start of the first half, where we let them have it, or the quality wasn't good enough, and it just kept building and building and building. You come out in that second half, and I'm sure Javi said this, do not give them anything in the first 15 minutes. If you don't do that, after that, they will get frustrated and frustrated and frustrated, and by the 70th minute, they'll be booing again. And that's where we take advantage, and that's where we push, like we did in the first half, the same pattern. But what we did was give them so much in the first 15 minutes of the first half, they were obviously going to create a big chance. Now, that came from a corner, which was unexpected. However, when you look at what happened in the first half with the corner, it isn't, because it's the same pattern, and we didn't deal with it again. I think it was McKennie marking him twice, he lost him twice. That's just the facts. That's not even having to go at anyone, that's what happened. But again, I can look at individuals and think, I'm looking at the first half, I actually think we defended quite well. I think the centre-backs, again, for me now, I think a few months ago were probably our weakest thing. They look the most solid. Do you guys agree with that? Let me know. The centre-back pairing looks really solid in there. And I actually think the defence as a whole looks decent. Luke Ayling gave 1 or 2 passes away early on, but after that he settled into the game and he did really well. Firpo again was decent. Look, you're going to get beat by Raheem Sterling once or twice in a game. Like, come on. Especially when they're doubling up on the side, when your fullback's not, when your winger's not getting back. That happens, man. But I actually was decent. And actually, for me, the first half as well, got moving up, I actually thought McKennie got on the ball and got in good areas. I thought Aronson did the same thing. And I actually thought Rutter did the same thing. Now, I'm seeing trend on Twitter again. So let's just, the problem, right, let me just tell you something. Oh, it annoys me. I'm going to check. Yeah, anyway, it's not that bad, but there's some people that are stupid. But look, right. He's a 20-year-old man, right? He's just moved to another country at that age to live here, right? When he moved here, it was a different coach. Now he's quickly had to adapt and change into a new system. Under Scabal, slightly different, right? At this point, he's still got to get fit, so he's not tactically inept because he's not tactically inept. That's wrong. He's not tactically up to date with the other players because he's not had that solid structure. Then they've changed again to have it. Now he's probably fully fit or thereabouts because he started and he looked quite sharp. Now he's got to adapt to the system because when he was on the ball in the second half, exactly when he got that ball in the transition, when we won it from the back, he did look a little lost. He didn't know what to do with it. He didn't know where to go with it. And he either overrushed or he took it too long because that's hesitation. That's not understanding where the ball needs to go, what you need to do with it. If you're an extremely confident player, right, if he's come in weeks ago and he started and he's not got abuse online and he's been playing well, he's more confident. But he's clearly not that confident yet. So when he gets that ball in those transition areas, he's thinking, do I try a trick? Where instead what he did was, he overthought it, he tried a trick, but he did a slow step over, which is never going to work in that area. What a confident Rutter would do there is either quick look out, pass, run forward in a transition because there was options on, or he'd do some skill and he'd get past 2 players, he'd beat them, because that's what he does. That's what he's good at. That's what he's done for the last 3 years in the Bundesliga. Now, for me, what I saw in the first half from him was actually positive. As an outlet, he was always in a position where he wanted the ball. He wanted to receive the ball. Look, a little raw on the ball, but I like his passing. I like his movement. I like the way he can get you up the field quick. Now, he just needs clarity from the tactics as to when and where he does those things, right? That's all it is for me. And once he gets idea properly of the system he's in, then he gets more of an understanding of what to do in certain areas. Because when he lost the ball, it's not that he's in full flow and he's losing the ball. That's hesitation. And hesitation is what you do when you're not 100% sure of what you're meant to do, right? I've done it. Players do it all the time. If you don't understand the system fully, you hesitate. And look, you've got to remember, Patrick Bamford was probably going to start until he got injured. So Rutter's now been thrown in there probably a few days or a day. I don't know when Bamford got injured, to adapt quickly to starting in the Premier League against Chelsea for Leeds United. And for that, I think he's done quite well. Look, to expect so much from him, look, yes, of course, look, we brought him in, right? And maybe if you didn't want someone for the future, you need to bring someone in now who can score goals and whatever, right? That person clearly wasn't available for the right price at this point. I don't know. I don't care. He is here. He's not the finished article. We have a striker who scored goals this season. He's injured. So for now, we have to deal with the inconsistencies of Rutter, right? But that is not a way to constantly laugh at him or take the mick out of him because he did a few bad touches. That is hesitation. That is not ability. That is understanding of what he needs to do and confidence. If you don't understand tactics and you're a confident player, you'll do your own thing and you'll do it right. He's not confident. He doesn't understand the tactics fully. He's confident. He's not extremely confident. That is it. He's not a bad player. Because I'm seeing a few comments. It's not that bad, but there's a few which, come on. And he did good things. That's enough on Rutter. Keep going. He's got a week now before the next game, I think, to really establish what he needs to be done, what needs to be done by him in a game. And that's good. That's what he needs, right? Now he's fit. Now he's fully fit. Now he knows he's probably going to start. Now he can establish what he needs to do in those areas. And that's fine by me. And God, he needs a goal. But look, there's one performance for me from a player who just didn't do the right things at all, in my opinion, and that was Jack. Look, the reason Jack plays well, or the reason Jack's played for longer, I know people saying he should have come off earlier, is because he's actually really good in a shape. He understands systems very well. He's a quick learner, right? He understands defensively and the shape, on the ball, off the ball. He gets that. He's very good at that. The problem is when he's on the ball again, whether that's the connection with the striker, understanding where they need to run. I don't know who's in the wrong. I'll have to watch it back. But the passes weren't good. He's not quick enough for a winger for me. He doesn't beat a man. And he was off it again. Yeah, he's in the team dominantly that long because of the shape. Because he's good at the shape. He's very good at the shape. He understands. He's very smart. He's a smart footballer. But he wasn't good today. He really wasn't. On the ball, he wasn't good. Off the ball, he just did a good job. But off, he's not good. He wasn't good. But it's interesting. Because now we have to sweep that off. Look, Bournemouth drew, I think. They're still below us. So we're still out the relegation zone. And let Southampton can't get out of it even if they win. I think they play tonight or tomorrow. Right? West Ham got battered again. We're not getting battered still, are we? We're not. And whether you like it or not, this Chelsea side are a good side. They're not a clinical side. They're not a side full of confidence. But they have very good in the centre mids. One was 120 million. They had a guy with 100 million on the bench. Guys they bought for 30 million, I think 25 million. Whoever else they brought on. Come on. Come on. But one thing I will say about Leeds today is, my God, we are crying out for Rodrigo. We are crying out for Rodrigo. Because there was some balls in the box, some areas in there where you're thinking, who's there? Swipe it. He would be there and he would score. And there's no doubt about it, we are hugely missing his impact in terms of goals. Huge. Huge. You can't have a guy on, what, is he on 12, 13 goals in goal competitions? I know he's got, 11 in the Prem? Guys, that's important. And they said hopefully he'll be back before the break. Whether he's fit for then, I don't know. But the next 2 games now are big, and we need to get at least 3 points from them, or 4. Obviously, it depends on the results as well. But look, we have to isolate this game as an individual game and think, look, Chelsea have good players. And you see how the way they move the ball. They can move it quite well. The issue for Chelsea is the end. Right? And I watched them last week. I can't remember who they played. And it was the same. They passed the ball, they moved it well. Was it Tottenham? I can't remember. They passed the ball, they moved it around well. They did good interplay, they did good little movements. They get to the box and they babble themselves. And to an extent, that's what they did today. They scored from a corner. We cannot be downhearted by that. Alright? And I'm annoyed because I think we could have got a point from that game, and that is a nice little buffer then, a point buffer between us and Bournemouth. But look, our battle is now next week, and is it Brighton at home? I can't remember. They battered West Ham today. That's going to be hard. We have to be on it. We have to get something from that game, and for me, it's got to be 3 points. Again, it depends on teams below us, but we need that little bit of a buffer to give us a bit of confidence. But look, that's all I'm going to say for now. Let me know what you guys think. Let's not batter players, because at the end of the day, it's not deserved, I don't think. You can criticise the performance, but saying a player's not good enough, it's just Spurs prove that now, that you have to be patient. And I get it, we're in a relegation battle, and I get it, we need them to perform. But for lesser areas, probably about 30% of that game, we were really good on the ball, I thought. It's the areas off the ball when they got in certain areas, we looked vulnerable, we looked a bit shaky, but once the ball came into the middle, we looked quite solid. Again, Javi's not had long. Now he's got a whole full week, no cup, nothing, to just work on the game next week, which is probably the first full week he's had to work on a game since he's been here. A full week of training is a lot different to preparing for 3 days. A lot different. Let's see what we're like next week. Next week for me is kind of the start of the final. We've got this week now, then you've got another week, and then I think it's international. We will have quite a lot of players off, but then that is a big area for the last 9-10 games after that to establish the system. So the next 2 games now are a good what's the word? Don't know. I'm not going to try to say it. Prerogative. It's prerogative. Yes. We have to now see what happens next week. It's as simple as that. Okay. But hey, I'm not disheartened by that. I'm annoyed because we need points. But results around us have kind of gone our way. Bournemouth got a point against, but they're still below us, right? So let me know what you guys think. Appreciate the support.